made a promise, and I said, if I get through this, if you get me through these health problems, through these financial problems, through all this stuff around 22, I was about 22, I said, I will wear hijab from here on out.
It's an easy out to think in terms of either or, but we know that one of the major intents for seeking knowledge is to both learn and to teach. Those two describe me, a teacher as well as student, and students of knowledge are taught that we are not to act on information that of people that we do not know the background of. Beyond the one or two interviews that I mentioned, but many dynamic experiences that I've been blessed to have, from being a toddler, attending protests, to all the way to post-traumatic protest disorder. If you know a better term for it, let me know. But that really shifted my understanding a lot, opened me to my heart. Am I still struggling with compassion fatigue? Absolutely. However, these days I have better coping mechanisms through the tools of Islamic inner work, lessons in balance it requires. Thank you for listening. Let's get into this video.
Assalamu alaikum, divine peace be on you and those with you. Even if you are in quarantine, we say to those with you because we are always in the presence of other beings, those being angels, jinns, whether we are aware or not. Today's topic, leveling up Ramadan edition. All of the steps that are going to be mentioned center around this concept of soul care. Soul care, as we've talked about before, is keeping God first. But how do we actually do that in a practical way? How can we practically, without just giving lip service, put God and keep God first? Number one is the inclination, and that comes naturally. Alhamdulillah, you're well on your way. Things work in increments. For instance, God tells us, and the meaning of it is, if we take one step towards Him, He comes running towards us. And this is in a hadith, Qudsi, a holy prophetic saying. We often fluctuate. There are levels, as we're aware, and the shaitan also works in increments. You give him an inch, he takes it a mile. He tells you, oh, just, taste this apple. You're going to end up eating the whole thing. We're going to be fasting. As you're aware, we can miss out on important nutrient opportunities to keep our body optimal. Personally, I take prenatals. You want to be careful. You want to watch for the ingredients because many may have meat-based products. Gelatin is a sign that it may have meat. I like prenatals because they pack in twice the amount of vitamins, but depending on your stage in life, you may take different types. My mom is a nurse, and so she recommended that I take prenatals, and I trust her judgment in that. That is one way to level up this Ramadan. The next, it may come as a surprise. It is to record dreams. Only in the past 5 years or so have I done this, and it is a game changer, you guys. When we record our dreams and we reflect on them, be it yearly, be it monthly, or whenever is appropriate, we will see connections. The more truthful you are, the more truthful your dreams will be. Dreams are 1/10, I believe, or 1/100th of prophecy. Inshallah, gotta check that reference. It's a big jump, but bottom line is that it is a normal part of our lives. 1/3 of our life is spent sleeping, so there's a purpose for that, and one purpose is dreaming. In Ramadan, we hope that we will sleep a little less, give a little more divine communion, divine worship, and service to others. However, the time that we are sleeping, we can still maximize that by waking up and immediately writing down whatever we may recall from our dreams. Also, I have done this in Google Documents, which is great because then you can search it easier and find things that may come up more easy. So that's another tip, is to record your dreams and to reflect on them. The next tip would be to create a log of your meals, make a menu, and plan accordingly. It will save you so much time, so much energy, and make it go a lot smoother. You can do this two ways. You can either log them as you go. You can have an Excel sheet, and each day have lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner snack. Or you can do it ahead of time, every week, or for the rest of the month. Type in, if you're that type of person, what type of meal you want to be preparing, what time of day, breakfast, lunch. Obviously, you'll only be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner 1 week out of the month if you're a woman, because we don't fast on our height, our period. But for the family, maybe your kids or whatever, you may use a log, and it will definitely level up your experience and inshallah the quality of your life. Just know that cooking is a love language. So I love that saying by Reverend T.D. Jakes. He also said that soul food is so good because there's love in it. Love is something that we can give or take. And it's the same thing with food. We can slap something together, or we can actually put thought and intention in it and have some really quality stuff in the end. There are levels to everything. Hijab is no exception. We are well aware that it is no joke having hijab, being a hijabi, not just in France, which is illegal, actually, very backwards, but even in the places like the States and elsewhere that may not outright ban it, but have very negative perceptions, very hateful, and even just shady, self-righteous now because you're practicing your faith. Things like that. That takes an inner level up to maintain and then to also continue to level up in. I went through rock bottom, and once I got to a point where I was literally I could only depend on Allah, only Allah knew what I was going through. I made a promise and I said, if I get through this, if you get me through these health problems, through these financial problems, through all of this stuff, I said I will wear hijab from here on out. And lo and behold, Allah, got me through it, as He always does get us through things. Alhamdulillah, where I did have the full hijab, I would cover. Even if you're already wearing hijab like me, I'm still leveling up, Little things like putting on like a little waist belt with a dress now I don't wear, just because I wouldn't have done that in Saudi Arabia. That wasn't the energy there. Then I made a promise also when I was there last year that I'm going to take that same energy and have that same type of mindset here in the States. Even though I had a choice until I hit puberty, there was not much of an inward reality that I understood. The way she made it sound, I was like, ooh, she's like, it's always something that big girls get to do. It's something very special that happens to you when you become mature. It's like, yeah, I want to do it. I grew into it, alhamdulillah. I think the number one thing to maintaining it, though, is the suhbah and the companionship that I found in seminary with other sisters who were also really practicing and striving to perfect their ibadah, their worship, and their hijab, how they're practicing and serving. Some people, like I only met one, Sister Samaya, she really impacted how I see hijab because she's been touched by other teachers, like the Yemeni scholars of Hadramaut and that sort of thing. So the Habayib. So that's another video. Now the next tip is about having that cultivating sacred space. Sacred space is something that can be as simple as being outdoors and daily getting outside, getting fresh air, soaking in nature, being in all of Allah's creation. Alhamdulillah, we are surrounded, but we still have nature around. It can also be something like where with family, maybe they don't have as much space as they used to. Taking time, to have your own bath soap, or like I've seen my sister, she had like this huge project vision board, like those awards that you get for science fair project. She made her vision board and she would use that as like a divider and just be in that little area for a second. Or you can get a real divider. I think they sell them at different home goods shops, and you get that divider and you have that for your ibadah, or just like people use them for Zoom calls, you can use them to cultivate your own sacred space. Naturally, you want to keep things clean, you want to keep yourself clean and presentable, things like that. The practical guidebook. And specifically, we'll be taking one disease of the heart from his section on Tasawwuf, the guide to gnosis, the principles of gnosis. We'll be taking one disease of the heart, and we'll be discussing very briefly how fasting is eliminating to eliminate that and what exactly it is, because again, when we know what we don't want, we know what we do. I definitely commend strength-based teaching. I am also aware that it can help when we are aware, when we know what to avoid and what to also get rid of in our hearts. So this is just a little bit of momentum. The last tip is to fast financially. A financial fast has to do with automating your zakat, because we want to obviously give charity, and we have an obligation to give a certain amount of money at a certain amount of time. As much as we can do, we want to get in this sacred time. So that means that we are going to not buy anything for 30 days that we don't absolutely need. Get all your Ramadan shopping, your Eid gifts, whatever, done before Ramadan starts, and when Ramadan hits, you will not buy anything that's out of absolute obligation. So we're encouraged to not just stick to one form of ibadah, but to also, first we might read some Quran, and we might help our mother clean up something, or we may help our husband or do some dhikr, on our tasbih, our rosary. So there's a variety of ibadah and worship that we can tap into. And again, we'll be referring to this book during our pep talk, so be sure to tune in for that. Hopefully you can get some more ideas if you don't already have them, and if you do have them, you can chime